thank you for coming again, and if you didn't have a chance to sign in at the back table there, please make sure you do that before you leave this evening. We'd like to record your presence. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tivoli's beautiful and historic Watts de Peyster Hall. Thank you all very much, each and every one of you, for being here tonight. This is the Village of Tivoli Board of Trustees annual reorganizational meeting, or as we say in-house, the reorg. This is when the village reasserts and reestablishes its policies and procedures. It is when appointed offices are filled and when appointments to various boards and committees are made. It is the annual restating of how we will operate and conduct business in the year to come. The last reorg of this nature, when we jazz it up and make it a bit more ceremonial, and there is cake later, but you have to sit through all my remarks first, sorry, was back in 2019. It was 5 years ago. But there was this pandemic, and sadly through that period we had to keep these lean and mean, and we didn't bring the whole crowd in and everything. But so it's been unfortunate for the last several years we haven't been able to do what's best that we do. But the pandemic has passed, and it's high time we returned to our sweet, proud Tivoli tradition of a more public reorg with pomp, ceremony, and cake. We're going to begin tonight with the oaths of office for our elected, in this case, re-elected officials. And I want to ask the Honorable Village Justice, Danielle Cordier, to please step forward. And I want to congratulate Justice Cordier on her own election last month to her first full 4-year term as our Village Justice. She took her oath earlier, and I can assure you that she is fully vested and has all the authority to do what we're about to do, and that is give oaths to our 2 re-elected trustees, the Emily M's, Emily Major and Emily Mangieri. If you would please come to the podium so that Justice Cordier can administer your oaths for trustee, and I'm also going to be reappointing Emily Major as my... Emily's come back over here in a second.
I'm just following her.
Yeah. We haven't done this in a while, guys. We're all off our marks. But I am also reappointing Emily Major as my deputy for the coming year. You may administer the oaths of office, please.
So I will prompt you, and then you can repeat after me. And raise your right hand. I guess I'll do one Emily first.
Do them, say it quick. We gotta get these guys back.
Okay, so raise your right hand. Okay. I state your name.
I, Emily Major. I, Emily Mangieri.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
trustee and deputy mayor,
trustee
okay, according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
All right. Congratulations to our elected officials. Now that our trustees have been duly sworn, I hereby call to order the 2024 reorganizational meeting of the Village of Tivoli Board of Trustees. Would you please join me and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Our first order of business is the filling of appointed offices. These appointments I made, and these appointments are made by the mayor, and they are subject to the approval of the board. I have submitted to the trustees my nominations for associate justice and deputy clerk and treasurer. All 3 of these roles have a 1-year term. Trustees, if you are comfortable approving all nominees in a single vote, we can do that. Or if any trustee would like to vote for or against an individual nomination, we can take each candidate in a separate vote. Are we cool with a single vote?
I'm cool with the slate.
You good with a single vote? All right. In that case, is there a motion to approve the appointments of Linda Detweiler to associate justice and Bonnie Day to both treasurer and deputy clerk? And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll go, how about the Emily's? Major followed by Mangieri. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I also vote aye. Now they will take their oaths of office. Justice Cordier, again, please. Bonnie Day, if you would come on up, please. And Linda Detweiler, and you're all going to take your oaths now.
Okay. So please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Treasurer and Deputy Clerk, Associate Judge,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations to our president. Thank you, Justice Cordier. Now that our oaths are concluded, we come to that particularly fun, memorable, and meaningful part of the evening, the annual Citizen Awards, which since 2019 have not been annual. However, as I said previously tonight, we are going to correct that and get back on track. As I thought about who to honor after a 5-year break, it occurred to me that there were far too many individuals who have pitched in between 2020 and now. And it further occurred to me that it would be nice to share some of the award spotlight, not just with individuals, but with some entities and organizations who really helped us all get through the last 5 years. So some of the awards are just to an individual, and some are to an individual plus more. It all makes sense in a moment. Tivoli has 4 awards. There are plaques downstairs in the hallway on which the names of past recipients are inscribed. Tonight we will add 4 more names to the record of outstanding citizens who have generously given their time, talents, heart, and more to our community. Additionally, this year I am adding a new award, which I will tell you about in a few moments. Our first award, however, is the 2024 Victory Award. This is generally given to someone who made a positive impact on the youth at Tivoli. I think I got mine in 2002, and look what happened to me, so be careful. While we have had some mild winters lately, we have still put on the wonderful ice rink at Memorial Park. And I'm saying we, I could say the village, I could say with help from DPW certainly, and generous support from Helen Martin, but really that would be a bit inaccurate because the Tivoli Ice Rink in recent years really has been a one-man show. It's been brought to us by a very hard-working and dedicated gentleman, and so for his efforts, the 2024 Victory Award goes to Matthew Krajewski. Come on up. Matthew Krajewski, the Village of Tivoli recognizes the time and effort you have devoted these last several years, which brought the Tivoli Ice Rink to Memorial Park. Your work and dedication provided Tivolians of all ages with winter recreation and wonderful memories that will last long after the ice has melted. Please accept this recognition on behalf of the grateful village. Hopefully it'll be colder next winter. I figured that would be very controversial, but for the ice rink, we hope so. The next awards are named in honor of past Tivolians who left their mark to such a degree that Tivoli named awards after them. So when we honor tonight's recipients, we also honor and remember these individuals and their legacy to our village. First is the Alan T. Covert Award. Unfortunately, our next honoree couldn't be with us tonight, but I told her this would be recorded. Thank you for being here, Panda. So please don't hold back your applause when the moment comes, because I'm sure she'll watch. If you cast your minds back to this month 2 years ago, 2022, the village was deep into the planning of our sesquicentennial. And an awful lot of hard work, imagination, and effort went into that. I think you'll all agree that we did a pretty darn good job of giving Tivoli the 3-day party of which it is worthy. It was a wonderful community event, and as we emerged from the pandemic, and as we planned, it did help pull us all together in our shared enthusiasm for Tivoli. To recognize all that went into the 150th, the 2024 Alan T. Covert Award is going to Sesquicentennial Chair Trish Teeger and the entire Sesquicentennial Committee. So with Trish not here, anyone who was on that committee, if you would stand up, we might have to give you the award, I think. It looks like you, Laura Gale.
You're gonna rake it in.
Trish Teeger and the entire Tivoli Sesquicentennial Committee. See, we wore them out. They couldn't even come back a couple years later. The Village of Tivoli recognizes you and the over 30 Sesquicentennial Committee members for making sure that Tivoli had a 150th celebration worthy of our wonderful village. You brought us together for 5 months of planning, solicited the volunteers and the financial support necessary to put on our joyous and unforgettable 3-day Sesquicentennial. Please accept this recognition on behalf of a grateful village, and we will make sure that Trish gets this when she goes back to town. Okay. Next is the Angelo Stafiro Award. And this one is going to be directed at an individual and an organization. But, again, the individual wrote me earlier today, and she has fallen under the weather and is very disappointed that she can't be here. She's also kind of a quiet doer, and maybe just as well for her that she's not going to be thrust into the spotlight here. But again, I hope we'll act as if she were here because of what she's done. Surely one of the best things about life in Tivoli is our wonderful library. With creative and consistent programming for people of all ages, it brings vivacity and vibrancy to our community and to this big old building. There is no doubt that the Tivoli Free Library did more than its part to help us all get through and past the pandemic these last several years. So the 2024 Angelo Stafiro Award is going to outgoing library director Michelle Del Priori and the Tivoli Free Library, and she's told me that Laura Gale Tyler. Has some connection to the library, which we will tell you about. The Village of Tivoli recognizes Michelle Del Priori and the Tivoli Free Library, where she served as director for over 7 years. The library during her tenure has had an immense and invaluable impact. For many, it has been the very font of the community life we all cherish in Tivoli. Please accept this recognition on behalf of a grateful village. Who's going to see Michelle next? We don't know. Now, it's always hard to narrow down the field because we have so many wonderful Tivolians, and as I said, we haven't done this in 5 years. And, you know, it's very hard to do when you only have 4 awards. So, partly, it makes my job easier to invent another award. But also, I was looking at these awards recently, and I noticed that of the 4, 3 are named for past Tivolians, and all 3 of those names happen to be men. And maybe that's a coincidence, but I am my late mother's son, and I think it's high time we had an award in this inclusive village named after a woman. So I, tonight, will inaugurate a 5th Tivoli Award. This will be the Margaret S. Lemon Award. Margaret passed away in 2017, and many of you know very well who she was and all she did around here. But for those who don't, I will share a brief list of her many accomplishments and involvements around here. Margaret Lemon was a member of St. Paul and Trinity and Episcopal Church for 87 years. She also served as the church's treasurer, a member of its women's club, a member of its vestry, of its choir, and she worked in the church's thrift shop where I know an awful lot of us, myself, got most of our clothing during high school. She was a member of the Tivoli Fire Company's Auxiliary, the Harris Smith American Legion Post Auxiliary, and the Southern Tier Senior Citizens. Margaret volunteered at the Monumental Masonic Lodge. She also worked for the the Red Church Cemetery and volunteered for the Village of Tivoli. She was librarian at the Tivoli Library for many years. She was also an election inspector. She really did an awful lot. In April of 2017, just months before she passed, we had the great pleasure of honoring her with the James Starr Clark Citizen of the Year Award, which is coming up soon. That was for, I was a relatively new mayor, and I was talking with Margaret and her partner in crime, Jackie Zatko, and I said, we are going to get this village polished up. We've got to do all kinds of stuff around here. We got to get house proud. And they said, we'll help you paint some fire hydrants. So these wonderful women of a good maturity started going around and painting the fire plugs in the village. And one quick story, I'm sure they won't mind me telling you, is they were working down on Friendship Street where there's some pretty deep swales by the plug, and they ended up sort of getting stuck down in the swale, and they literally had to call for help and be rescued. So that's volunteerism for sure. There was much more she was and did, and I also want to mention that behind you all in those cabinets are Margaret's amazing scrapbooks. Since the early 1940s, I tried to find the earliest one, I believe it's 1942. She clipped and kept almost every article from every newspaper about Tivoli and the surrounding area, community events, obituaries, marriages, news, everything. Bard College buys Ward Manor. Joel Griffith, 26 of Tivoli, arrested. All that stuff, it's in there. And the family and Jackie and Margaret donated those to us, the village. So they are such a historic treasure. We're in the process of trying to get them all scanned and digitized. So we are also indebted to Margaret for that. So that's a snapshot of Margaret and a glimpse of why I'm creating this award in her honor and memory. So now let me tell you about another woman in the village of Tivoli. She began her service to the village way back when Mayor Mark Molinaro appointed her to the planning board in 2005. She went on to serve on the planning board and the zoning board of appeals for the next 13 years. She was chair of the ZBA from 2012 to 2018. From there, she became deputy clerk and planning, zoning, and secretary for the village for 5 years. During that same period, she was also a trustee on the Tivoli Free Library Board and spent 2.5 years there as president. And somewhere during all that, she found time to conceive of and organize the wonderfully creative pumpkin promenade that we did back in 2022. I remember Frankenstein with the little barrel. We had a lot of pumpkins. That was really good. Which was just a wonderfully creative thing to do for our kids so we could still do something fun with them in the early days of the pandemic. And for the last several years, she has also given me a lot of help pulling together my favorite thing, the Tivoli Children's Summer Recreation Camp. For all these reasons, for all this service over all these years, the first ever Margaret S. Lemon Award goes to Laura Gail Tyler. Laura Gail Tyler, the Village of Tivoli recognizes all that you have contributed over many, many years to our fortunate community. Serving on the planning board, zoning board, as deputy clerk, trustee and president of the Tivoli Free Library, and more, your deep and enduring service is an example to us all. Please accept this award on behalf of a grateful village. Which brings us to our final award, the James Starr Clark Citizen of the Year. James Starr Clark was many things, but he was also the first president of the village of Tivoli back in 1872. My job used to be called president. I don't know what happened, but he only served 2 years. I think he'd be pretty pumped to be here tonight and see what's become of the village he helped create. And I know he'd be thrilled to see that we're all wearing shoes. Right, that was one of his things.
Yeah.
And then most of us are hopefully eating some vegetables. That was another one of his campaigns, right? So we're doing him proud. When I think back over the last several years of what has been working well in Tivoli, what has been successful, and what of which we should all be exceedingly proud, I rest upon the incredible growth and health and accomplishments of our all-volunteer Tivoli Fire Department. From the fire of July 2019 to a year spent operating out of a glorified circus tent in the parking lot, all while managing the complex insurance recovery and reconstruction of the firehouse, to ambitiously laying out plans and the need for a major expansion to that firehouse, while working to raise the several $1 million needed to fund it, and while growing their membership so successfully while so many others in our area are having a hard time doing that. The recent years of the TFD have truly been astonishing. In the opening years of their second century of service, through major challenges, the TFD has excelled. This is due to the commitment and dedication of each and every member, to the strong leadership from their board of directors, and through the strong leadership and incredible work ethic of a man who is now serving his 4th term and 13th year as chief, and I believe you're getting close to the record, right? We'll see.
I don't know if I beat Ralph yet.
We'll see. The most important responsibility of government, even before our prudent management of the public purse, the most important thing is public safety. And for the mayor and the village board, to achieve that responsibility, we have to turn to you. We have to turn to our fire department, the rescue squad, and we couldn't fulfill our responsibility without what you do. We rely on you, and for those reasons, the 2024 James Starr Clark Citizen of the Year is going to go to Chief Mark Hildenbrand and the entire Tivoli Fire Department. The Village of Tivoli recognizes Chief Mark Hildenbrand and every member of the Tivoli Fire Department for selflessly serving the essential needs of our deeply fortunate community. Through the Firehouse Fire of 2019, the pandemic, and the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls since, the Tivoli Fire Department continues to be a living representation of the finest in public service. Please accept this recognition on behalf of a grateful village. I'm going to keep Chief up here and let him say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor.
You are welcome. You are welcome.
All right, so first off, thank you, Joel. Thank you, Village Board, for recognizing the fire department. I promise you, I will keep it short. For those of you that are used to listening to me, you know better, but everybody does want to get out of here. So, again, thank you to the mayor. Thank you to the village board. I've done this a long time, 30th year. But I can promise you I haven't come across the mayor, and I'm pretty sure past chiefs in here will tell you that there has never been support like this for the fire department. Anything we ask, well, not anything. Because that building's still not built, so not quite anything, but I do demand a lot. I demand a lot from the village, I demand a lot from our company, and they all step up. Some of my ideas were kind of poor, so we don't have the money for, but I promise you I will help raise that money. We find it someplace, one or another. So these guys have helped purchase equipment. As you know, half of our apparatus burned up. We literally ran for over a year with one fire truck and a loaner truck that barely ran. So they've helped us rebuild the firehouse, write in village grants. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that not everybody sees. Those millions and millions of dollars for that firehouse, it just doesn't come out of the village budget. The village works off $800,000 a year. I work off of about 90 to run a fire company with 60 members, 30 interior members. It is nearly impossible. But again, they have all stepped up. We've worked really, really hard with them on getting everything completed and that firehouse looking the way it does currently. To the crew, it's literally one of the hardest working crews. You're gonna get me emotional.
Wow.
So, I ask a lot, and their family. So, they step up. I put them through a ton of shit. We've seen a lot of stuff, but they are always working. Non-stop, countless hours of training, responding to calls, meetings, community events. When you hear that whistle going off, the trucks flying through the village, it's hell. You know, a lot of stuff is tough, and they are doing this all for free. They leave their families. Kind of why I'm emotional. I left my two boys tonight. We're at games, so it's tough, but we do the job to save all of you. So again, everything goes out to these guys. I'd be nowhere if it wasn't for all of them. That firehouse would be nowhere if it wasn't for all of them. So you owe everything to these guys. So give them a round of applause again. Bigger and better things. Firehouse expansion. As you can tell, we've outgrown it. It's pretty much standing room only in that firehouse anymore when it comes to meetings. We have no showers. There's no Red Cross emergency shelter anywhere in this area. And every time there's a community event, everybody uses the firehouse, and there's no room anymore. We've outgrown it for apparatus. We've outgrown it for pretty much everything. We have no place to train, no place to have offices. There's 13 people, 13 officers that work out of my office, which is about 10 by 10. There's another whole line of administrative that is about another 13 to 15 that work out of a smaller office. So the need for the expansion is here. We are dedicated to getting that done. We are about 3/4 of the way there. We are about to put in $1 million grant through New York State. If that comes through, then more than likely we'll be breaking ground this summer, if not fall, which is a huge accomplishment to get that done. It is a much needed space for not only the fire department, but the community. So again, you see all of that out there. You see all the capital campaign stuff at every single event. We're getting there. I promise you it will get done, and we are getting there. So again, I want to thank the residents, everybody watching, some that are here. Your support means more than you know. Showing up to our events, showing up to the breakfasts, showing up to every single function we have, donating to the capital campaign, donating your time to the capital campaign. It's huge for us. You know, we also purchase equipment off of those donations. We help run that fire company off of the donations and the breakfasts and dinners that we do. We do a lot of community stuff for other people. So again, thank you to the village and all the residents for stepping up, helping us out, and really supporting it. And try not to get this emotional again. Lastly, the awards for the people who have getting them. Unfortunately, Laura Gale's the only one that's here. 2 of those awards came off of some legends. What a Clay Hill. That were very, very close to me. Due respect for those people that you got those awards for. Learn the history, learn what they did for this village. But they raise maple food. So, again, in closing, make sure you respect those awards. It's a huge, huge deal to me on who gets those. So, again, thank you. Take pride in them. Take pride in this village. For those that got the awards, continue to do the job in the village. Help this village grow. Don't just get them in the run. You know, it's you got them for a reason because you did the job. So respect the job and continue to help this village. Again.
Thank you, Chief. Before I tell you all about the state of our village and make a couple of major announcements, I want to take a moment to do something I haven't gotten to do in way too long because I haven't had this public platform that affords me to do this in the way that it should be done. I want to thank, and I want to ask you all to join me in thanking, the hardworking and dedicated individuals on Team Tivoli who really make village government function day in and day out. Nothing that goes on around here and nothing I'm about to tell you about is possible without the hard work of Robin and Bonnie and Colleen and Tabitha and Jim and Don and Ralph. Let's give them all a big round of applause. Seriously, personally, I am deeply grateful to each and every one of those people. My fellow Tivolians, one more tradition to reinstitute tonight is the State of the Village Address. I haven't delivered one since 2019, and obviously a great deal has happened in the village in this last 5 years. I can only touch on some of it, but if you'll please bear with me, here goes. In July 2019, the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority began to manage and operate our water and sewer systems. In 2020, we put in 6,000 feet of new water main, made major upgrades to all our wells, and erected a 190-foot, 300,000-gallon brand new water tower. In 2021, the old tower came down, and in December of 2023, the village of Tivoli finally and completely and entirely transferred our water system to the DCWWA. We benefit from all that new infrastructure, and we have a responsible and enduring entity to manage it for us. They manage it, they get to manage it, and they have to manage it. Right, Aiden?
Yep.
Yes, that's right. We also here in Tivoli continue to improve pedestrian amenities and pedestrian safety by winning 2 community development block grants to put a total of 3 crosswalks on Broadway, and recently doing another 500 feet of ADA compliant sidewalk from Plain Hall to Woods Road along that stretch of Broadway that is Claude Potts Way. We were the first municipality in the area to take advantage of a change in state law, which allowed us to lower our speed limits village-wide to 25 miles per hour. Everyone else is trying to do that now, but we did it first. We went fast to slow down. We worked with our friends at the Kotzebue Cultural Park to secure an easement and reopen the old trail. It's going to be called the CAT, the Kotzebue and Tivoli Trail. Would you like to meet me downtown to get a coffee and walk the CAT? Yes, I would. I think that would be lovely. Let's go. The CAT runs behind Village Hall, southward across the beautiful fields of Kotzebue with their mountain views, and then it terminates and comes out at the southern village line down on the end of Montgomery Street, and of course from there you can go down to Kid Lane and connect to the Tivoli Bays and the Empire State Trail, and you can keep walking all the way to Manhattan if you like. We have a bit more signage to do, and we do have to let it dry out back there a little bit. Ralph, we're going to brush hog it one more time when it's dry enough. But there will be a ribbon cutting early this summer, and residents and visitors can enjoy this wonderful recreational opportunity for years to come. I want to thank Kotzebue and their leadership for collaborating with the village to finally get this done, and they're not here to pay my In the last few years, we won 2 other grants, each of these for $50,000 from the New York State Department of State to update our local waterfront revitalization program document, which was written way back in 1991. Thanks to the many residents who have been participating in this process and the hardworking members of our LWRP Update Committee. Thank you to Michelle Gregg, our village planner. This was another huge thing that Tivoli needed to do, and we got to it. We got probably another year and a half, but it's going to get done and checked off the list, and hopefully it won't be that many decades before we update it again. We'll see. We have turned to face the serious flooding and drainage challenges we've been experiencing in the village. They are here, they are bad, and unfortunately, with the climate crisis, we know they can only get worse. The board has directed the necessary resources that allowed us to do a study with the help of our consultants and residents. We completed that study, and there's a residential survey, and we got an inventory of all our stormwater infrastructure. And we also identified that the 2 critical areas most in need of being addressed are Memorial Drive and the northern end of Montgomery Street around Furrow Avenue. We have designed projects already to mitigate the worst of the flooding in those 2 areas, and we have started seeking the necessary funding to execute those projects. Last fall, the board applied for yet another community development block grant for drainage improvements to Memorial Drive. And I am pleased to announce tonight that we have been successful and we've won that grant, and we are getting $200,000 to go towards that project over there. That's for you. As we ardently search for additional funding sources for stormwater infrastructure and flooding mitigation, we learned that the state is putting most of the resources for those purposes aside for communities that are part of something called the state's Climate Smart Communities program. And that's a program that it takes a lot of work to even get into. You have to get certified. Fortunately for Tivoli, we have been working on that certification for the last couple of years. And after a tremendous push and a lot of focused meetings this winter by our amazing CSC task force, and help from the wonderful Kelsey West of Cornell Cooperative Extension, just 12 days ago, by the April 5th deadline, Tivoli submitted 153 action item points to try and meet the 120-point threshold that will get you bronze certification. So we were able to pad it up. Good. We will find out in the coming weeks how we did, but just in case those reviewers knock 33 of our points off, and I hear they're pretty strict, there's another window to apply in July, and I am very certain that very soon this village is in fact going to earn bronze certification under the Climate Smart Communities program of New York State, and we will gain access to that resiliency and mitigation funding that this village so badly needs. In the last 2 years, Tivoli has been recognized among all the municipalities in Dutchess County for our work to live up to the requirements of the federal 1990 Americans with Disabilities Act. Tivoli has been working with Taconic Resources for Independence. They are a fabulous organization which advocates for the disabled in Dutchess County. Last summer, they invited me to be the keynote speaker at their annual Inclusivity Festival at the FDR Presidential Library to talk about everything Tivoli has done in recent years, from the ADA page on our village website to many CDBG grants for ADA amenities, including sidewalks, crosswalks, the handicap parking space by the pavilion, the wheelchair swing in the park, and most importantly, Tivoli has been getting this recognition from TRI because we've been raising the fact that persons with disabilities are entitled by law to equal accommodation in places of public assembly, both public and private, both Village Hall and our Tivoli businesses. Many of you were in this room last August when TRI Director Lisa Terracone and her associate John Rossi, we invited them here to talk to the public about just how much progress is needed in Dutchess County on accessibility. Honestly, the fact that Tivoli is getting plaudits when we ourselves have so much farther to go and so much more to do, I think says something about where the whole county is at on these issues. We in Tivoli will continue to do better, and I hope that all of us in Dutchess County and beyond will do better. Lisa and John were back with me just a couple weeks ago and told me that they are now developing, in concert with Dutchess County Executive Sue Serino, a pilot program to further increase awareness of and compliance with the ADA. And they want to launch this pilot program in Tivoli because it was here that they found the most receptive community. In June, when we return to our omnibus legislation about short-term rentals and accessory dwelling units, I hope you will recall that the third piece of that law is guidance to our planning board and building department that they are to expressly review ADA compliance in all relevant projects in Tivoli. This will be a first of its kind law, and TRI is grateful to Tivoli for making such a strong statement, and they are eager to push our example throughout the county. As we spoke about earlier, it has been a huge 5 years for the TFD. The fire at the firehouse, the double centennial, the amazing wet down ceremony, and a long, long march toward the much needed expansion of our firehouse. I want to recognize the tremendous talents and determination of Samara Daly, who is the capital campaign consultant. Samara's not here, but I want her to know that we shouted her out because none of this would be happening without her, and it's a big deal. Also, I want to recognize, as we have, Chief Mark Hillenbrand, the directorship of the TFD, and the entire volunteer membership. We should recognize our wonderful volunteer expansion committee who has been tabling at street painting and outside the bakery. And I want to recognize every individual, foundation, and business who has made financial contributions, large and small, including Bard College and the town of Red Hook. And big shout out to everyone who has bought and proudly wears their Tivoli Firehouse expansion hat, pin, or tote bag. It's been a long march, but since 2020, we have already secured one CDBG, because we win those all the time. County planning loves us because we ask for these things and we execute these projects and we spend that money. One CDBG, 3 Dutchess County Municipal Innovation Grants. We've received the support of our state representatives, Senator Hinchy and Assembly Member Shrestra. And as you have probably heard, last month, we learned that Tivoli is going to get another $500,000, $500,000 in the federal budget, thanks to our wonderful federal representatives, Congressman Pat Ryan and Chuck Schumer. And as Mark said earlier, this month we are about to apply for another $1 million. And if and when we get that, we are going to be so close to having the funding necessary to actually go out to bid. It is not a question of whether this expansion is going to get done. It is just a question of when, and so help me, it's going to be soon. You guys clap for that. We're trying to I want to get everybody feeling good before I talk about the next thing. We have another huge project looming. Tivoli's new sewer plant is coming. Hopefully you attended or followed the information meeting we had back in January of 2023 with the DCWWA, at which a few things were explained to the users of the sewer system. Firstly, that the sewer plant is past its useful life and must be entirely replaced by a new plant. That the current plant is struggling to perform and meet the ever stricter requirements of our New York State Speedies permit. That's the permit that says what can come out the back end of your sewer plant and go into the creek and then the river.
That's my house.
And because we have had periodic violations of that permit, we are under an order on consent from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation to start meeting our permit by June of 2025. And the last part of the information that was presented at that important January meeting in 2023 was that this new plant, not including the improvements to the collection system, just the plant is estimated to cost $13.4 million. At that meeting, users of the system were reminded that the village had won 2 grants in around 2018 for $900,000 and a little one for $50,000 for the generator that's going to be there, but we'll take it. So we've got $950,000, almost $1 million, for a $13.4 million sewer plant. The rest of that $12.5 million is going to come from zero interest financing from the EFC. Zero interest is what they call cheap money, but even when you get cheap money, but $12.5 million worth, we are looking at a huge financial burden for this community. I was asked at that meeting January 2023, what are we going to do? And I said, the village board is going to go look for more money. So I have an announcement tonight. It's a big one. It's the biggest one I've gotten to make in 10 years of being mayor. Due to the diligence of the village board and our consultants and our partners at the DCWWA, and the fact that we duly kept updated our IUP, intended use plan, on the EFC's list of state projects. We made sure it was up to date all the time, that it had every nickel that we needed, and we stayed on top of that. So, when the federal bipartisan infrastructure bill was passed in Congress and signed by the president, Tivoli became entitled to additional funding for our sewer plant. On top of the $950K we already have, we are going to get an additional $6.6 million. Wow. We'll keep looking. We'll see what else we can get. But that's like half the plant. So, hooray. The new sewer plant is 100% designed, and the project will be going out to bid next month. That bid is going to get awarded in June, and the construction is going to start as soon as this late August, early September. Our new sewer plant is coming, and it's going to get done. We will be holding with the DCWWA another public information meeting sometime in June to update everyone on all aspects of this project, the construction schedule. But this part of that meeting should interest you. There are going to be new financial projections for how much all users can expect to pay annually now that we have an additional $6.6 million. We will let you know when that meeting is, but the good news tonight is it ain't going to be as bad as it was going to be. So look out for that. Okay, I'm getting tired. I see some long faces. Speed round. Going to move on through this and get to the cake. In recent years, Tivoli has thrown our huge sesquicentennial. We planted more trees. We striped curbs. We replaced stop signs. We switched police departments from the Dutchess County Sheriff's deputies to the Red Hook PD, who've been doing a great job. We have ticketed open containers and noise and nuisance gatherings and speeding and stop signs. We have had hugely successful food and clothing drives. We got 2 Department of State grants totaling $430,000, and we stabilized our shoreline. We honored our veterans each and every Memorial and Veterans Day. We cried out with the rest of Northern Dutchess County, and we saved the loop bus, Route Z, all the way up to Tivoli. And we ran the wonderful Tivoli Children's Recreation Camp each August, and we sprayed those happy kids with the fire hose both Fridays each week. And we've kept Yard Sale Day and Street Painting and Winterfest and Tivoli Community Day going each year. We have done all of this during a time of great change in our village, maybe more change than we've seen in a while. There's been great change in the county, in our region, in the nation, and the world, and thus far, we still have not lost our sense of community. Whether we do lose it or not will continue to remain up to us. Community is a project, just like every other one I've talked about tonight. It needs maintenance, it needs investment, it needs to be cared for, it needs to be overtly named, intentionally cultivated, and regularly celebrated. If not, you will lose it. Even Tivoli could lose it. Community doesn't just happen, and I'm proud that in Tivoli, we do not take it for granted. We know that we have something special here. We are so fortunate in Tivoli that our community project is healthy and has so many champions. So many of you pitch in every day and contribute in myriad ways. We are people of diverse characteristics, opinions, backgrounds, and beliefs, but we have one big thing in common which binds us, and that is a love of and for Tivoli. We are people with that common interest living in that community that we didn't start. We inherited it from our predecessors, like Angelo, like Margaret, and so many others. They got this community going, and I remain proud that in our time, we are doing our part to tend this community so it can be inherited by those coming up and after us. Our task, our duty remains to embrace our turn at preserving and perpetuating this singular, this fabulous, this fabled village. And just one more announcement. I'm about to close. It's the one I always try and close with. Tivoli Community Day this year will be Saturday, August 3rd. And to get you all excited, I would like to show you this. This is our community photograph from last year, and thank you to our hardworking unofficial court photographer, Pete Mauney, for doing this every year. I think the 2023 crowd finally toppled the 2015 crowd, and we got the most number of people in the photograph this year, so good job. And this one's going to go where that one was, downstairs, right by the bathroom. Everything's in his book on the history of our village, the late great Bernie Teeger wrote, "The village of Tivoli sparkles like a small gem in the crown of the Duchess." Tivoli is a precious gem, and it is because it is small and rare and beautiful. And remember, how brightly it shines is entirely up to us. Let's keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate that. I appreciate your time and attention and everything you do. We're going to break for cake and refreshments for 15 or 20 minutes, and then we're going to come back to order, and we're going to go right into our meeting and do the brass tack stuff. You're more than welcome to stay, and you're more than welcome to leave. Thank Okay, the village board will come back to order, and if, looks like we're all ready. We will recontinue our meeting here with the village clerk's report. Clerk Bruno, please.
Yeah, we're just going to document time. So in the past month, there were 390 trash tags that were sold. 2 payrolls were processed. Bonnie Day has taken on the role of deputy clerk, which includes planning and zoning secretary, and she has attended a planning board meeting so far and has attended and assisted them. In keeping with updates at a reorg, just going to provide as clerk other roles that I have taken on within the village, and 3 offices that I'm presently holding at Tivoli Fire Company, one being First Lieutenant for Fire Police, another being corresponding secretary, and also one of the 4 directors with their board of directors for the fire company. I've attended and completed a number of trainings for the company, and also continue to serve in a role for Tivoli Fire with FEMA and assisting with the grant program for the fire department. And also, I continue to work with Provost Park and serve as their president with their board of directors.
Thank you, Clerk Bruno. Trustees, we have in our binder 2 sets of minutes. We have the March 20th regular board meeting, and we have the minutes from April 10th public hearing on the tentative budget. You've had a chance to review those earlier. Is there a motion to adopt both sets of minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, that was Mangieri, seconded by Schilling. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have the treasurer's report. this month. Out of the general fund, we spent $72,223.89. That is also our grand total, $72,223.89. Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report? And a second? That was Major, followed by Schilling. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Mangieri, followed by Baldino. All in favor? Aye. Looks like we don't have our building report this month. Yep.
We didn't receive one
Yeah.
as of 4 o'clock.
Moving on to public comment on agenda items. We have mostly our reorg agenda. Adoption of reorg package, resolution pertaining to annual reorg, resolution readopting code of ethics, resolution adopting the new budget, budget modification, and authorizing the execution of a renewal agreement with the Tivoli Free Library. Okay, we're going to get into it. First is a motion to adopt the annual reorganization packet. And second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have the resolution relating to the annual reorg. This includes details like our meeting schedule, the official newspaper being the Kingston Freeman, our bank is M&T, the amount of petty cash to be kept on hand, the new mileage rate, which is 67 cents per mile, and the blanket bond, includes a check signer, and other details of that nature. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution relating to the annual reorganization?
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, that was Mangieri, followed by Schilling. A roll call, please. Deputy Mayor Major.
Aye.
Trustee Baldino.
Aye.
Trustee Schilling.
Aye.
Trustee Mangieri.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. Next, we have the resolution relating to readoption of the Code of Ethics. Is there a motion to readopt our Code of Ethics? And a second?
Aye. Second, sorry.
Major, followed by Baldino. Any discussion? Roll call, please. Deputy Mayor Major. Trustee Baldino.
Aye.
Trustee Schilling.
Aye.
Trustee Mangieri.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. Resolution is adopted. Okay, next we have our resolution relating to the adoption of the 2024-2025 budget for the coming fiscal year, which begins June 1st. We had our required public hearing last week. The trustees and I have all worked on this budget for a couple of weeks since I got it in on time, March 20th deadline to the board. I know after the public hearing, we discussed that we had no further changes, and so at this time I will ask if there is a motion to adopt the 2024-2025 budget.
I'll move.
And second?
Second.
Baldino, followed by Mangieri. Roll call vote, please. Deputy Mayor Major.
Aye.
Trustee Baldino.
Aye.
Trustee Schilling.
Aye.
Trustee Mangieri.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. And our budget is adopted.
Great.
Okay, we have one small budget modification, moving $93.71 from the contingency line to the historian budget line. One of the first times we've had money pass the historian line.
Right, very
That I can
exciting.
recall, and that was, of course, for when you cleaned the cemetery stones.
Ah, yes, it was for the D2 cleaner and some, actually no, the D2 cleaner was donated and it was for some spray bottles, sponges and soft brushes.
I think we're getting to use some of that to also work on the chess table,
Yes,
so
yep. we're gonna-
making it stretch.
Yep, oh, we got
We
plenty.
bought the scanner for the historic thing.
I don't think we've done that budget mod yet, but at any rate, we're going to do this one tonight. So is there a motion to adopt this budget modification?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
That was Mangieri, followed by Major. Deputy Mayor Major?
Aye.
Trustee Baldino?
Aye.
Trustee Schilling?
Aye.
Trustee Mangieri?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. And lastly, we have a resolution authorizing the execution of a renewal agreement with the Tivoli Free Library, our wonderful tenants downstairs. This, I believe, will begin our third 5-year lease with them. So we will approve this, their board will approve this, and then we'll all sign the lease for the new year. And we have a slight increase to reflect the increase of utilities. Their $1 rent will stay the same, and their utility contribution annually, which has been $1,000 a year, is going to go up to $1,250 a year. Glad to have them in the building. Wonderful, all that they do. Is there a motion to authorize execution of the renewal agreement with the Tivoli Free Library?
So moved.
That was Mangieri. Is there a second?
Second.
Baldino. Roll call, please. Deputy Mayor Major.
Aye.
Trustee Baldino.
Aye.
Trustee Schilling.
Aye.
Trustee Mangieri.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. The resolution is adopted, and when they have approved it, we will all parties will sign a new lease. The next board meeting will be held Wednesday, May 15th at 7 p.m., preceded by a workshop at 6 p.m. here at the Watts de Peyster Hall. And we have a regular workshop on May 8th at 6 p.m. Moving on to trustee reports. Trustee Schilling, is there anything you want to talk about this month?
The only thing is the continued collecting of information from KI regarding the landfill. And they're putting an application into with Central Hudson, and we're waiting to hear back on that application. Once we get that application back, we will have more definitive numbers as far as what we can do, how much electricity we're draw out of this, and give us some idea of whether they're going to be able, the system will be able to absorb the electricity that we're able to generate. So
Find out.
it's getting real interesting now. In the last email, they're looking at about 3.4 megawatts, which is considerable amount of electricity. Yeah, so.
That'll be great. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Once we get a definitive report, and then I guess we'll all sit down and hash it out and see. Yeah,
Excellent.
but it's got some interesting potential.
Thank you, Bill. Trustee Baldino.
This month, the total money collected and remitted to the state controller is $1,540 in fines, $293 in surcharges, 0 in civil fees, for a total of $1,833.
Thank you. Just looking over.
Other than the thing that's what you were looking for.
No, that's not what I was.
Okay.
I just like to check. Speeding, 53 and a 30. A lot of overnight parking still coming through. No inspection. 47 and a 30. Stop sign. Okay. Trustee Mangieri?
So for the month of March, the monthly police report totals are that there were 13 incidents, 8 uniform traffic tickets were issued, 2 parking tickets, and there were 3 arrests.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Major?
Well, there's the usual great things going on at the library. But what I want to talk about is the 14th annual Hudson River cleanup, which is organized by Riverkeeper. They have, up and down the river events planned on May 4th. So we've been participating since the beginning, and it's pretty great. And it's heartening to see that the amount of garbage has gone down, because for the first few years, we would go out in the bays, in canoes, and haul in, tires and, all sorts of flotation devices, and at low tide, we would pick all sorts of shotgun shells out of the muck. And then we sort of got that under control and started going down by the river here. And, again, hauling in tires and bottles. And every year we find a duck decoy of some sort, and they then come to live in my garden. So if you've been out Montgomery Street, you can see there's a candy goose and a couple of small ducks and penguins, which I can't
Nice
explain
collection.
that. But yeah, so it's a lot of fun. That's going to be Saturday, May 4th from 10 to 2. And just wear work gloves and, be prepared to get kind of dirty. And I offer a prize for the weirdest thing found. And then Riverkeeper keeps track of, they want to know how many tires did you find, how many, tons of garbage. And we don't luckily get that kind of volume anymore, which is nice. Yeah, so come check it out.
Excellent. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Well, I said an awful lot tonight. I'll just touch on a couple things. The Water Authority is going to start doing some CCTV review of all the collection system for the sewer. They just sent me some emails today. I'm going to put out an email blast to residents which shows sort of where they're working this week, then this week, then this week, so people can kind of know what's going on. So this, again, is part of analyzing everything. They do smoke testing and see where the smoke comes out and stuff. So that is coming in May. And I wanted to welcome the Tivoli Free Library's new director, who I had the great pleasure of meeting yesterday, Toby Farley. I think she seems wonderful. I'm enthused to be working with her. And again, thank you and best of luck to outgoing director Michelle Del Priore. And I'm going to leave it there for tonight. So we will turn to public comment.
I have nothing.
How about another piece of cake?
Except I'm them already.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, nobody leaves the room until the cake is gone.
Run now. All right, well, that will conclude our 2024 reorg. Thank you, everyone, for being here and for staying late tonight and working late. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.
All right.
Thanks so much. Go eat cake.
Woohoo!
Thank you. Thank you very much. Speech.
You have to run and put the boy to bed.
Put that way to that.
Texting me, put away your phone, stop watching TV, read. He's like, no.